We know that hearing these words from us won't be enough to make you remember it and believe it fully, because you've been picking up things along your vibrational trail. You didn't learn to not like yourself the first time someone didn't like you. You protested. The first time someone said you were bad, you knew they were wrong. You tried to convince them otherwise, and had they not been bigger, you would have won. The other day, Jerry and Esther were in a restaurant in a little alcove with 3 other tables, and a little boy was having a meal with his mother. And they had finished the meal, and he had been there much longer than he was happy being there. And for some reason, the server was taking a very long time bringing the check to them. And he was restless and beginning to be vocal. And his mother, who was aware of the close proximity to other people, kept hushing him, but it was not working. And finally, she said to him, "You are a very bad boy." And he protested with a volume that everyone in the restaurant could hear, "Me not bad." And he meant it. He knows he is not bad, and it is so uncomfortable when his mother, who he wants to believe, is so wrong about something that he is so sure about. She did not believe him, however, because she has been practicing those thoughts much longer than he. She was certain that he was bad, and she was also certain that everyone around there would agree with her. So Esther turned to her and said, "I have to agree with your little one. I think he is an angel. In fact, there are not words to describe the goodness that he is." And the little boy looked at Esther, and he smiled from inside out. His new friend who understood and saw him as he knew he was. And his mother, who wants with all of her heart to believe that, and was really more concerned about what other people thought anyway, went along with it. And then a man at another table chimed in. He agreed too. "I've been enjoying him also," he said. And then the tardy waiter came with the check and had 2 pieces of candy, which she offered to the little one. And he reached with his little hands for the candy, so excited to have it, when his mother snatched them back and gave them back to the server and said, "No, he can't have candy." And then the man across the aisle reached into his pocket and pulled out a coin, a large coin, and handed it to the little boy. And he took it with such satisfaction. It was an interesting thing to watch this battle. It was not a battle of good and evil. It was a battle of believing in one's goodness or not believing in one's goodness. It doesn't take too much of hanging around with people you trust. You know, the ones that give you the food, the ones who seem to be the vortex through which your sustenance flows. It doesn't take too much hanging around with those who seem to be in control of where your well-being is coming from to begin to understand that you better please them first. And the unfortunate thing about that is that in the moment that it is important to you that you please your mother, or that you please your teacher, or that you please your government, or that you please those in power, the moment that it becomes more important to you that you please something outside of you, you begin to diminish your awareness of what you are doing with your vibration. And the thing that is so screwy about that is that what you are doing with your vibration is really the only thing that matters, because it is the only thing that affects your point of attraction. If you could maintain a vibration of well-being and a vibration of expecting well-being to come to you, there could not be someone come into your experience, no matter how big, bad, and awful they seem, no matter how strong they seem, they could not get into your experience and mess it up. So what it comes down to is now you are adults, and now you are out from under the wings of your parents. Now you must make a decision that you are going to control your own vibrational offering, which means you're going to pay attention to the way you feel, which means you're going to offer a vibration that feels good to you when you offer it, which means you're going to clean up your point of attraction, which means only good things can come to you. It is not a good idea to get on a soapbox or get on the bandwagon of pushing against injustice, because you cannot push against anything without achieving vibrational alignment with it. And when you achieve vibrational alignment with the injustice that you are so justified in feeling, then the injustice becomes a match to your experience. And then you say, see, I told you we needed to do something about this. And we say, we agree with you. You do need to do something about it. But you cannot push against what you do not want without becoming a part of it. This is a universe that is based on inclusion. There is no exclusion. When you say no to something, you include it in your vibration. When you say yes to something, you include it in your vibration. So if there are things out there that are troubling to you, you've got to take your attention from them. We know it is fun. We know it is interesting. We know it is interesting in the sense that you like to use your minds and you like to feel involved and you like to contemplate things. And all of that is part of the sorting process that continues the evolution of this time-space reality. All that is expands because you have exposure to experiences that cause you to emit vibrations. Every time an injustice occurs and you see it, you emit a vibration that screams for people treating people better. You do. And the world becomes a better place because of your exposure to the thing you didn't want that made you clear about what you do want. But you cannot then fall back into your fear or fall back into your anger and let that be the dominant part of your vibration without pinching off your own well-being. You just can't do it. So when you say, I want to be in support of something or someone, we say, be in support of what feels good when you think about it. And there's such a big difference in thinking about freedom and thinking about lack of freedom. There's a big difference in thinking about wellness and thinking about sickness. And so many of our physical friends don't get that. You think because you're talking about the subject of health that you're talking about being healthy. And we say, every subject is two subjects. There is that which is wanted on one end of the stick and that which is not wanted on the other end of the stick. And you can tell which end of the stick of every subject is activated within you by the way it feels to you. If it feels good, you're in alignment with well-being. If it feels less than good, you're not. The way you feel about you is everything. The way you feel about you is everything. We know it feels trite. The word worthiness has been bandied around in your physical time-space reality for a long time, and many of you are just flat out tired of talking about it because you want to feel worthy. You're just not all that sure what it means. And we want to say to you that what the feeling of worthiness means is, I know that good abounds and I expect that it will come to me. That's what worthy means. Worthy means I get what I choose. Worthy means law of attraction is fair. Worthy means I'm offering a vibration. Source knows the vibration. Everything is vibrating. Law of attraction will bring to me things that match the vibration that I'm offering. But worthy means I understand that I come forth from the source of goodness, from the source of well-being. No matter what I have done, and no matter what anybody else thinks about what I have done nothing to thwart my relationship with the stream other than what I am doing vibrationally that thwarts the stream. In other words, no one outside of you, there is not a God, there is not a source, no one is looking at you and saying, yes, I see that in the past you did this and this and this, and therefore you will be deprived of well-being in response to those actions. There is none of that. There is none of that. Jerry and Esther have a navigational system in their vehicles. It is called Magellan. Wonderful contraption. There is an antenna on the roof and satellites in the sky, and Magellan knows where they are at all times. There is a computer in the vehicle. And so when they have some place they want to go, they just program in the city and the street and even the street number in some cases, and Magellan calculates the way to go between where they are and where they want to be. Says turn right, turn left, take the next exit. Tells them how many miles. Magellan never says, where have you been? Because it is irrelevant. Isn't it irrelevant? Where I am in relationship to where I want to be is the only game in town. Where you have been has nothing to do with it, except that if you've been really focusing upon where you've been, you might have really activated where you've been in your vibration. And so even though you're standing where you are now, you might be offering a vibration about where you've been. But Magellan tries to get you over that. Magellan says, where do you want to go? Tell me now. And if you will take the time to program in where you want to go, then Magellan is relentless. If you take a detour, Magellan will say, please proceed to the highlighted route. And when you get back on the freeway, if you make a mistake and get on the freeway going in the wrong direction, Magellan will make a racket that you would not believe. She will say, when it is possible, make a legal U-turn. We say she, it is a woman's voice. The man's voice was far too bossy. You have a guidance system within you that works exactly the same way. You can feel when you are moving in the wrong direction. But you know, if you've practiced feeling good, you can tell when you dip into a thought that takes you away from that. The better you feel, the more of the time, then the more sensitive you are to any dip in vibration. If you're running around feeling pretty ornery most of the time, then you may be receiving all kinds of warning that you cannot hear. Not warning in the sense that something terrible will happen, but guidance in the sense that you could be making a better choice right now. Jerry and Esther are staying at a recreational vehicle park in Malibu. Lovely place that overlooks the ocean and Cher's house. And as they leave this park to turn left, which is the direction they always want to go on the Pacific Coast Highway, there is a sign that says no left turn. So the only option is to turn right, get into the center lane, wait until the traffic is clear, and make a legal U-turn. Which is fine when they are in their car, but when they are in their motor coach, it is extremely inconvenient. They have to go a long ways in the wrong direction before they can turn around. So Esther has never been very pleased with the sign. So each time she comes to the foot of the hill, she always says to Jerry, and he always agrees because he is such a wise man. It is so much safer for me to just turn left than for me to scoot out into traffic, screech on my brakes, get into the center lane, then cut across 2 more lanes of traffic, get onto the other side of the road, and then wait for other cars. Esther said, they must be crazy to have put that sign there. Who in the world would do that? And then Jerry smiles and says, well, there may have been something that happened that we don't understand. And Esther says, yeah. And then she says, I'm going to do what I want. I'm going to vibe it out and do what's appropriate for me to do. This is my plan relative to all things. So she comes down the hill, and her heart is soaring, and she makes an illegal left turn and feels so good about it. And all is well. And then the next day she comes down the hill, feeling really, really good, thinks about making a left turn, decides against it, makes her right turn, and just as she is about to make her left turn, the police car comes by, and Esther smiles and says, hello. My guidance always lets me know where you are. And then she says to Jerry, it is interesting. When my heart is soaring, I can feel the dip in my guidance enough to know. In other words, Esther said, I knew what to do. When I thought about doing what I have been doing and what I've taken glee in doing, it didn't feel good, so I didn't